Sup nerds, so in today's video we're going to be reviewing the best written, acted, and directed Star Wars project in the modern era, and that's Andor. If you have not seen seasons 1 and 2, because I'm going to be going over both, make sure you check them out, but also I'm going to be doing a non-spoiler review, so if you kind of want to feel for what the project is, then watch this first, and then I'll let you know when I'm getting into spoilers. I'm going to be reviewing my favorite moments, lines, stories, and details all throughout seasons 1 and 2, because this version of Star Wars is so incredibly beautiful. If you do enjoy, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and find one way out to the notification bell so you can see more Star Wars content on the channel in the future. And without further ado, let's get straight into it. Star Wars has two methods of storytelling: tragedy and escapism. The prequels and Andor and Rogue One focus on the tragedy and the human aspects of Star Wars, and Tony Gilroy does a really good job of telling those stories. Whereas the originals and like Mandalorian and Grogu, that movie's gonna be really cool. People were complaining, they were like, oh, how we're gonna go from Andor to Mandalorian and Grogu. They're two types of cool. They're both cool, but in their own ways. What I think the sequels try to do is kind of do a little poetry, because, you know, Star Wars, it rhymes.
It's like poetry, so if they rhyme.
The prequels, tragedy. The originals, escapism. And then I think they tried to go back to tragedy, but the problem with a lot of franchises now is that they grab our original characters that we love so much, Luke and Han and Leia, instead of making them like kind of myths and like these really cool characters that are bigger than reality, which is what the escapism is supposed to be. These characters are supposed to be without flaw, without just like tearing them down. They do it with Indiana Jones. Yes, Indiana Jones is a bit like sarcastic and moody and whatever, but in Dial of Destiny, he gets a little just like grumpy, and then we're set up with these characters that aren't fully developed enough, because what the studios think we want to see is just the nostalgia of seeing Mark Hamill and Harrison Ford and Carrie Fisher. But yeah, that was really cool, but that should not be the main thing. That's why I'm going off on a tangent, but that's why I think Avengers Secret Wars cannot just be a cameo fest, and the actual story has to be good. If you go too much into the escapism, it gets a bit childish, which is fine for a kid's movie, which Star Wars kind of is a kid's movie, but you can go a little deep and into that tragedy, which Andor does very well, but it doesn't get depressing. If you go too much on one side or too much the other, that's what happens. But my favorite thing about Andor is that they make you love these characters, and you are built with nothing. You have no prior knowledge of these characters, but Tony Gilroy does such a good job at developing these characters really, really well, especially some characters that don't get that much screen time. They, like, some of them are just really good, and I'm going to do a tier list at the end of this video so you can see that, but there's are characters that don't get as much screen time compared to others that are kind of close to them in the upper rankings, but they're just so well written and so well acted, and it's really cool. Now we're going to get into spoilers, so if you have not seen Andor Season 1 and Season 2, we're going to be going into my Andor Season 1 review. Even in the first episode, you see how good Cassian Andor is at lying every single little detail. And he's talking to Brasso when he does it first. Oh, I went over here last night, and then you saw me go into my room, and then I did this, and then he just keeps going, and it's like, these people are insane, and we'll get to that a little later, which I'll keep saying, because this story is so good on building on itself that a lot of these little details in season 1 and in the first few episodes kind of come back later. I love all the terminology and metaphors used for the rebellion and the empire, and the fermenting pockets of the rebellion, and the leaking through, and the shaking and slipping through the cracks of the empire's grip, and yeah, that the hand of the empire, where the rebellion, as the empire grips tighter, they kind of start to lose grip of some of the rebellion, and that's where the rebellion starts. And like just some of those details are just really fun. Party As talks to the members of that like council, and he goes, yeah, we're healthcare providers and we're getting rid of the sickness. He doesn't see them as just soldiers and military. No, he sees them as healthcare providers because he sees the rebellion as a sickness. And you'll see this kind of get flipped on its head later in the series. The episode The Eye is really, really good, and the eye itself, just seeing all, like, I don't remember exactly what it is, but like the meteor shower and just everything is like beautiful, and the music and the breaking into the facility and then the breaking out of the facility, and how there's this whole episode is just each member of the team fighting for their own cause, but they're coming together as a rebellion. Every time Luthen is in his kind of art gallery, shop, whatever, he just picks up something, and it always has to do what is he actually talking about. Like, when he grabs a blade, he's talking about some sort of violence, or sharpness, or whatever. And, like, each thing he grabs has something to do with what he's talking about. Oh, this thing might be fake, or maybe I'm fake. Like, it's really fun, and I love that. And another thing I want to say is I love that this series has just deep monologues and dialogues, and you kind of just sit in that with them, and that is so much fun, which might not be fun for everybody, which I understand, but I think it's really fun. And on top of that, you get that, and then you'll see a Star Destroyer just fly in, and you're like, we're watching Star Wars, I forgot. That's crazy. Tay and Mon Mothma's relationship is just really fun throughout the first and second season, but you definitely see how much of a better rebel Mon Mothma is, just lying. The same thing you see in episode 1 with Cassian and Brasso. She goes through each detail. Oh, smile. You hear throughout their whole conversation that they're having, just walking past people, not staying in one place for too long, especially if they're surrounded by people at a party. She just makes sure that, oh, there's people looking at us. So every few minutes, she's like, smile, like look like we're having a great time. Like, we're not talking about a rebellion starting. We're just catching up as old friends. It's like her insanity, these characters' insanity is so much fun. Everything from the architecture to the music to the sound, the gritty and metallic sound effects of Narkina 5 is so ugly. It's so disgusting that it is beautiful. It is so ugly that it's like, oh, I don't like being here. Like, I feel uncomfortable watching it, so imagine what they're going through. Like, that is so fun, and that's why One Way Out is one of the best episodes. It's also, again, I said it was kind of boring. It's kind of gross to feel like you're at Narkina 5, but that boringness with one minor slip up, one minor detail that each character in the prison have to kind of detect. Like, Cassian is looking at the guards. Oh, they looked panicked. They're paying attention to us more. That means they're kind of scared. They're not just like walking around aimlessly like they're just guards watching out if somebody breaks in. No, they're worried about us breaking out and figuring out that they're understaffed. Like, that stuff is so much fun, and it's so interesting to watch them go through it. And like, oh, they figure out that 100 men died, and like they're like, oh, there is no escape. Like, and I'm watching Cassian get into Kino, Andy Serkis's character's mind, and breaking him and being like, they're like, the Empire, they killed 100, like, these people killed 100 people not because they're powerful, not because they just felt like it, because they could, but because they're scared. They don't kill people just because they can. They kill them because they're terrified. But again, Andy Serkis is such an amazing actor. I love him in almost anything he's in. And just seeing his performance in One Way Out, and just that monologue is so strong. And it's just one of the few monologues that carries the series so hard. And it's amazing. And you see all that, and you watch this character, and you're like, oh my gosh, they're gonna make it. And everybody does make it, except for him, except for the guy who commanded his voice and led everybody here because he can't swim. And that was like, that was crazy to watch. That was just like, this sucks. It's like, Tony Gilroy is like, oh, we're gonna give you this amazing scene, and it's powerful and strong, but then this guy doesn't get to reap the benefit. This is the sacrifice he made, so he could have stayed in that facility and is still working there, and it's just sucks. Speaking of monologues that are very strong, I think maybe the strongest monologue is Luthen's to Lonnie, because Lonnie's like, I have a wife and kids, like I have a baby on the way, like I'm a father, like I can't do this anymore. And he's like, that sucks. You signed up for this. Like this is what you signed away. Like you knew what it was getting into this. You had to know, because this is your life now. Lonnie's like, what do you sacrifice? You just sit around all day and no, he is sacrificing everything. He is being just as disgusting as the Empire. He has to use the tools of the Empire to win. Like you see that especially with Saul Guerrero, but like Luthen does it too, and like these characters get looked down upon because of this and are untrustworthy because of this, and you just kind of gotta trust them because they seem like they're doing good. That line delivery is like, I don't get to see that sunset. He didn't get to reap the benefits of what he's doing. Why would he be doing this? Because he's crazy, because he's insane, because he needs to do good. This insanity, this tearing down of an emotional level and a loveless life, it's really sad. It's really sad. And just that line delivery of, what do I sacrifice? And just the everything, because he finally gets to like get it out. He doesn't get to talk to people about this because he can't. There's nobody to talk about it. Maybe to Clea, but he's always on a mission. There's always something else. He doesn't get time to relax. He doesn't get time to process what he's doing because he's continuously doing it. Because if he stops, that's when he gets caught. And it is crazy. It is crazy to think like that. But it has to happen. The music building up in the finale is just amazing. You see it in a little glimpse in the first few episodes, but then you kind of get that build up, and you hear it throughout the intro all season long. Awesome. I love the intro. It's really sick. But yeah, like that's really cool. And then Marva's speech to just kick it off, it is so good. And she just throws out an F-bomb casually in a Star Wars show, and it's like, oh, they should have let her do it. And it's like, oh, well, no, she says fight. If you look at it, she doesn't say fight. She doesn't say fight. But then also Brasso, after one of the officers kicked over a B2, he smacks that shit with a full brick, with Marva's brick, and her fighting as the brick is just like the symbology of that. You know, he just hits him with a brick, and it's great. It's great. Sometimes you just gotta hit him with a brick. Now we're gonna be moving on to Andor Season 2. The Mon Mothma Wonder on Chandrila is absolutely phenomenal. You kind of get to walk through her shoes for a minute, and it's just, you get to see how exhausting it must be going from, oh look, I'm a lovely senator, and then no, like I'm scared. Oh, what's Luthen doing here? What's Tay doing here? What? Like just the panic to the like fake smile, like that must be so exhausting. The difference between Krennic's behavior and a bunch of other Imperial officers is just he's just so expressive and he's in it, and he's not calm, he's sarcastic, and he's a little sassy. He's a little bit of a diva, if you ask me. But it's so much fun seeing that contrast to Partagaz and Tarkin. You just see their calm, just like they just give like their just one word answers, and they just kind of just calmly just tell you what they're saying. But sometimes it's a little sarcastic, whatever, but they say it very calmly. Krennic does not do that. He just goes for it. Bix's scene with the creepy Imperial officer, just watching it and just being like, I just kept thinking, oh, okay, it's just gonna cut away, it's just gonna cut, never cuts away. It is very, very well directed. And, it's horrifying. And this sounds like it's a complaint. It's not a complaint. It's very well done. But your heart sinks as you're watching it. And it's disgusting. It's disgusting, but it's real. seeing Mon Mothma go from a concerned mother and like she has all these attachments in the beginning of the episode, but then she just cuts everybody off by the end of this episode is just, oh, it's so sad. And you're like, oh, well, there goes Tay. And then boom, and like she's just such a free spirit now, which is dangerous for the Empire. But yeah, just side note, that remix Niamos theme, that's gonna be stuck in my head. That's still stuck in my head. It's really good. Seeing how messy Gorman is, just in their designs of being a rebellion, being a part of the rebellion, you can see that certain characters like Andor and Mon Mothma were kind of made for this, but the rest of these characters, you really have to mold them into a rebellion. Cassian gets pissed off that Luthen even suggested that they be a part of the rebellion because they are so sloppy. But then you see them as everything goes on, they start to clean stuff up. But by the point they start to clean stuff up, the Empire's already like on them. It's they're already gonna just wipe them out. When I say Clea, you're thinking, oh, in the first season she was fine. She was in there a couple scenes. She was pretty cool. But then you get to this season and she has a very prominent role because Tony Gilroy really liked her, and this is one of her first. The actress, this is one of her first prominent roles, and she does such an amazing job. And especially in episode 5, you kind of see her first be a part of the rebellion and kind of have those covers, and you don't know if she has it at first. You kind of see it a little bit in season 1, but you really get to see it in episode 5 when she's stealing the comm thing from underneath one of the art pieces. It's so much fun, and I hope we get her in some other project that I'm gonna watch because she was fantastic. Saw Gerrera and Wilman's relationship just kind of seems weird at first, but it turns out to be really amazing. At first, Wilman's kind of confused and he's weirded out by Saw, but then you start to realize that Saw Gerrera and Wilman are very similar, and he's like saying that, like, we're insane to be part of the rebellion, why not embrace it? So Wilman starts to embrace it, and it's really cool. The reason I started there a little bit is I don't know if huffing toxic gas is a part of the contract, but do what you need to do, okay? So you have fun, you get the cool Vader mask in Rogue One. Sick. The line rebellions are built on hope, that gets echoed through Cassian, that gets again echoed through Jyn Erso, is so fun that it was some hotel clerk that made it up. He just said it out of a whim, and he's like, oh, I hope you make it out of this, or I forget exactly what Cassian says. And then the guy just goes, rebellions are built on hope, and it was like, oh, that's cool. Like, that kind of Easter egg stuff, that kind of cameo stuff, like, that stuff should be one of those things. It's like, oh, that's cool, rather than like us like freaking out over everything. Like, these things should just be like kind of placed in there rather than it be the entire story, you know? The nefarious genius of the Empire is so cool, and it's really shown throughout the Gorman episode, where you just have the Gormans, oh, they get set up through propaganda that they're arrogant and they're selfish, and this sets them up to be rebels. And the reason why they have to be rebels is not because they chose this, it's because the Empire chose it for them. They needed to blow up this planet and get all of the resources through the interior of the planet, this Calkite or whatever. But like, they needed that, so they needed a rebellion to rise, and they're just doing it out of self-defense. Oh, we don't want to do this. Oh, but they keep attacking, so we kind of have to put this military thing. But then at a point, it doesn't matter because they know that they're setting them up for failure because they got a sniper, shoots one of their own soldiers, and then blames it on one of the rebels. Or not one of the rebels, any of the rebels. They have staged a bunch of attacks, and they're blaming it on the rebels, and then it is giving them an excuse to kind of lash out, but Mon Mothma and the rest of them see through it. K2SO is my favorite droid in Star Wars, but you don't really get to see how crazy and how scary the KX units are until now. Just the sheer force of them throwing somebody, they die on impact. And it's like when one of the KX units threw one of the Gormans, that one Gorman girl, I believe it's the main Gorman leader's daughter, He chucked her and she just died. And I was like, oh my gosh, they're terrifying. So when one of them was coming for Cassian, and then the other guy just ran it over with the speeder, I was like, I really hope that's K2SO, and it was. So that was sick. Zero's character is just, it just shows the ignorance of people, and just how people are so blinded by everything, and if they improve at all from being blind, then they'll just ignore what's right in front of them. He was getting stepped on all his life, not just now, all his life, but now he's getting promotions. So he's like, oh, it's worth it. So Dedra, another person who has just been stepping on him and using him, even though he knows now that she's been using him, and then the Empire's been using him, he still went after Andor. And yes, he does got that personal beef, but I think now he's putting the blame on Andor for his life falling apart, but never himself. And that is just truly just beautiful writing, and because it's gross, because all of his scenes with his mother and everything, I didn't really like that, but you just see how pathetic this guy is and how blind he is to everything, and just he doesn't have a care in the world. He just wants Andor. That's all he wants. So just attacks him, and he ends up dead for it. One of my favorite scenes of Star Wars is the Mon Mothma speech, which of how I knew she lived. I knew she lived, so this isn't why I was excited. Just the line delivery and just kind of the slow intro for Mon Mothma, and then they're just like, oh, my friends and my coworkers, and what I'm just here to talk about. Oh, well, no, the Emperor's evil, and she just kind of just like pulls that out of nowhere, and it's just really cool, and you get to hear that in the background and just throughout the scenes of the two teams trying to get her, and it's like, oh, who's gonna get her first? Oh, maybe the Bail Organa's team does get her first, but oh, maybe not, maybe Cassian gets her, and it's just it's a lot of fun. It's I think my favorite episode of Andor, at least of season 2. Bix leaving Andor is just so heartbreaking, because you know she does that out of love. She knows she would never forgive herself if he left without helping the rebellion, because she knows is that if everything doesn't go according to plan and this doesn't work, she doesn't want to live in a life with this Empire. She wants this perfect life with him that, you know, she never gets. And it's really sad, but she knows she'd never forgive herself if she kept Cassian away from the fight. Dedra felt so all she wanted all series is to catch access. I want access or whatever. So she finally gets the Luthen, and she's so smug about it. She's like, look at me, I got your little Imperial box thing that you had in episode 1 that you got from Cassian, and I know who you are, and what, and Luthen says, you don't get this, and he kills himself. And it's like, oh my gosh. It was crazy. It was crazy, but it is so fun. It is so fun, and Luthen's fine with it. Also, Lonnie getting shot after just being the GOAT throughout the whole series, telling us about the Death Star. Just that is such a gut punch. He didn't deserve that. I really wish there was some way to get him off of Coruscant without him just being dead. But I don't think there was. Clea is also full and goated. Her mission to go through the hospital or whatever. The Empire, she does so good, the Empire thinks it's a 3-person mission. It was just her. What a goat. And she gets there, and she's able to make sure Luthen dies. And it's really sad. But she's goated. She is so goated. K2SO, even though he's pretty much bulletproof, he uses the one officer, the one commander, as a human shield as he goes to attack the other guy, and he gets shot multiple times. It is a scary scene, but it is awesome. Luthen creates the rebellion so well that even him dying and almost risking Clea's life, all of that, he does all of that, to all that sacrifice that he has. He does all that, and he builds it so well that they don't even believe he's telling the truth. The people in Yavin don't even believe him. That's how crazy you have to be in the rebellion. Is that you can't not trust the guy who has built this whole thing, because maybe he got switched up on. Maybe they mind controlled him. Maybe they whatever. You don't know. And that's why in Rogue One they have to get a backup information to clarify that, yes, this planet killer is real. The Death Star is real. And it's really cool. Part of guys finally realizing that they weren't the healthcare providers. They were the sickness that he was trying to cure. He's just sitting there and he's listening to Nemec's manifesto. Wow. Wow. It just amplifies Nemec even more. And the amazing part about Partagast here is he's not mad. He's not angry. Yeah, maybe he is a little bit. But overall, he's like, who do you think this guy was? Like, who do you think Nemec was? And just the curiosity of it just shows what kind of man Partagast was. He felt like he did everything right. He felt like he was doing everything for the right reasons, and he was getting rid of the sickness. But no, he was the sickness. And as a healthcare provider, said by himself, he has to take out the sickness. And so he takes himself out. Dedra being a prisoner on Narkina 5 is just an amazing ending for her character. I did not expect that at all, but it was so just fun to see her in that uniform and just know she's suffering, because she deserves it. Bix is on one of the planets that they were on earlier. Cassian sacrifices. He sacrifices himself. He sacrifices everything for her. And the reason that she had to leave is that she was pregnant, because you see her with the baby. They finally get to see the sunrise, the sunset, and everything in between that Luthen didn't get to see, but he talked about. And that's what it is all about. That insanity and that intense stress and breaking up of friendships and betrayal and everything. It is for this moment. It's not for those people. It's for the people we leave behind. It is an absolutely beautiful way to end the series. Not with Vader. Not fully with Krennic. Not with Tarkin. But with Bix. And you can't ask for something better than that. That was awesome. Just a side note, because I'm a big Marvel fan, I would love Tony Gilroy to direct something Marvel. And you're like, oh, okay, but he doesn't like the escapism aspect of it. You have the Mutant Saga. Mutant Saga goes two ways. It goes crazy cosmic, crazy things. And then it gets political. It gets very political. It gets very nasty. It gets very gross. And Tony Gilroy is amazing at that. I would love him to direct the first X-Men movie, an X-Men movie, whatever they want to give him. I would love for him to do that. But we'll have to see, because they might try to get him back to do another Star Wars movie. I don't know what he's doing. I hope that happens. Let's run over to the tier list real quick. I don't want to take too much of your time, so we're going to get through this. The mega characters, I'm not going to mention. They added something to the show. Solid characters. Tag, pretty cool, fun relationship with Mon. The Force Healer, fun relationship with Cassian. Really fun aspect of the story. Ebon Moss Backrok, a lot of, again, fun relationship with characters. Great. Bix, Cinta, Cyril, Dedra, Marva, Brasso, Krennic, and Wilman. Kino, Vel, Nemec, Saw, and Partagaz are very good in the series. Just the line delivery and the monologues and the connections with the characters are just so good. But these characters do it perfectly. Cassian, Luthen, Mon, and Clea. They are so good. I would love to see them in a bunch of new projects, especially the actress who plays Clea, because yeah, this is like her first prominent role, and she deserves more. I would love that. I would love to see her more. Hopefully, it happens. But yeah, they resemble of what Star Wars tragic storyline is meant to be. And that's the end of the video. So hopefully, you guys enjoyed. If you did enjoy, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and the notification bell to catch more Star Wars content, series reviews, and any more nerdy news that comes in the future. And as always, have a fantastic day. And if you kind of have a fantastic day today, have a fantastic day tomorrow. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Later, nerds!